Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. This is the Imperfect Ashlers Masonic Podcast. All the views and opinions stated on this show are strictly those of the host and their guests and do not reflect the opinions of any Masonic Lodge or Grand Lodge. What's up, y'all? We are the Imperfect Ashlers here again. I am Brother Zach, and beside me, as always, I've got Brother Ben. So, we've been talking a little bit, and we always mention that Masonry is making good men better. And it kind of occurred to me, to us, that we haven't really explained how. So,
Right.
I think we need to dive into that a little bit.
So
Maybe
you're saying we don't just become Masons and become better men.
exactly.
Okay.
I wish it was that
Yeah,
easy.
we just can't go down and take a couple obligations and all of a sudden we're fixed.
Exactly. And to me, the best way to start talking about that, at least what we can talk about, the obligations would be a great way to talk about it. But I say we do it with the working tools. We in Alabama, all of our working tools are explained in the monitor. So here it's not considered secret work. So why not? We'll give out some of the information that we go through, some of the degree stuff and everything. But first, as always, have you been up to anything lodge-wise? I
The
know
red degree
that's
Saturday,
exactly
which
what
was
I was about
incredible,
to
by the
say.
way. I
Yes.
was so glad I was there. It was kind of lengthy, but I really enjoyed it. It was time well spent.
Yes. Amen. And great food. Oh, they did a great job on those burgers and
Really
dogs.
good food, really good fellowship. It was good to see a lodge that full. Almost every seat in that house was full,
Yes, it
and I wish
was.
we could see it like that on a weekly basis.
Amen to that. For those that don't know what we're talking about, we got to witness the Louisiana Red Degree, which is the Scottish Rite of the version of the work.
Yeah, Scottish Rite
Uh,
Master Mason.
yeah, the Scottish Rite version of the Master Mason degree, and uh, for lack of a better word, it is different.
It
It's
is
very different.
very different, but very cool.
Yes, it
And
is.
I was like, man, I wish we could do that.
Yeah, and we talk about the difference in work and everything, but in the end, I mean, you get
It's
pretty
the
much the
same.
same thing. I mean, it's the obligations are definitely not identical, but they're very similar. And like you said, it was a lot of fun. It was great meeting those out of state guys. We had people flying in from California and Alaska, and that just blows my mind.
The guy from Fairbanks he's actually been living here, I think in
Oh,
Alabama for a while, but he is originally from Fairbanks. But we did
okay.
have we had people from
California.
California, Tennessee, I think there was a North Carolina, maybe.
I believe I want to say I heard that
Yeah, there were guys from
all over the
the
country.
Southeast was definitely represented well.
Oh yeah, several grand officers.
Georgia showed up really well.
Yeah,
They showed up.
and like you said, it was well worth it. Well worth the about 4 hours we were there, probably longer than that, really.
Yeah, it went by fast, like I said, the fellowship and seeing the lodge that full
Yeah,
and being there and seeing the age of some of the men that were pulling that degree off,
yeah,
some of the knowledge that was there and some of the wisdom that was passed on to us, that was really nice.
yeah. Oh, I agree, and I love their, which we're getting into a lot of it on here, but people may not have been able to go see it, but the uniformity, everybody dressed the same, looking pretty much exactly the same,
Feel like a
same
bunch of
height.
Masons there.
Yeah. But and it definitely, it kicked me into high gear and made me want to really get in and do this work and stuff. So, like I said, it was definitely fun.
Worth a Saturday afternoon,
Oh,
right?
well worth it, well worth it. And other than that, we coming up. I don't know if this will get posted in time to really be a marketing advertisement or not, but this Thursday, what is this Thursday? The May 2nd, 2024.
The fourth is I believe is on a Saturday. So
Okay,
yeah,
so
that would
yeah,
be the
it'd be the
second.
second. The second we are giving out for in our lodge, Ben and Jacobs here in Pell City, we're giving two 50-year pins and a 65-year
65 years.
pin.
That's a long haul
Um,
right there, brother.
yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's going to be
I know
nice.
my kids are coming. It's going to be an open lodge event. So if you are listening to this before then, come on out. Um, it is open lodge. Anyone can attend. Um, we just ask that you dress presentable. There will be a meal provided, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
Um,
always good.
and of
I like,
course, these guys that are getting these pins, they're like you're talking about, all that experience and just knowledge.
and it's good. It's good. I wish some of these guys that are getting these pins would come back in and get active in lodge. I know Brother Pat may be one of those guys, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure about the other two. But it's good to see those guys that are getting the 50-year pin that are
right.
still, still members, but maybe not able to come to life because of age and things like
Yeah,
that. I understand that that becomes more and more burdensome as you go, and we saw that with Brother Hubert.
yeah. Oh, yeah, very much so. And I agree. I mean, like we've said before, even on the show, I mean, we did it for a while. We were excuse makers. But
Imperfect.
in a way, there's no excuse other than just medically not possible. I mean,
That's
if you
right.
if you just don't want to come, just say I don't want to come. We can understand that, but if you're going to be paying dues, you might as well go.
Right.
There's no point in not.
Absolutely, you should be there.
It's a great fraternity, and we want to have you there. The other thing I wanted to announce, again, I don't know if you'll hear this in time, but next Thursday, a week from the second, so what would that be? No, this. Never mind. I'm wrong
Be
about
the
that. It's
ninth,
the
is it?
16th.
Okay.
The 16th. We are
That'll be 2 weeks.
we are raising our brother Ron that we have
Brother
talked about
Ryan,
on the show several times.
Master Mason
Yeah,
raising.
he's finally getting his sublime degree, and I know y'all have at Coosa Valley. 929 has a Master Mason coming up. There's
We
also a
do.
Master Mason up in Asheville, I believe, the day after
We'll be
y'all's.
raising.
That'll be three in one week.
We will be raising Dale.
Roman Dale.
Roman Dale.
That sounds cool. That sounds
But
like a
his
good
first
old
name,
redneck
I
name.
like to call him Roman, but his name is Jake.
Oh,
He
okay.
goes by Jake, but his name is Roman. Roman
I
Dale. I
got
kind of
you.
like that.
Yeah, that has a flow to it.
Yeah,
I like
Roman
that.
Dale.
Sounds kind of redneck. But anyway, other than that, well, we've got a new apprentice in, Josh Lara at Benham Jacobs, and from what I hear, he started working on his
Doing
lesson and
his
stuff.
lessons. That's
So
good.
good job to that. Other than that, I mean, I don't guess there's not really any other quote unquote news that we really
No,
have to go
so we've
through. I know.
we've got some stuff coming up in the future. I know with Scottish Rite as well as with York Rite, but that's in the future. We've got the ball coming up in July, but that's
I know next month, York is doing the commander orders, right?
right.
Yep. I hope to be there for that. I plan to be there for it as long as
You're in
God's
that York
willing.
Rite College now, brother. You better
Yeah.
move.
That's something I guess we could announce that.
Hey,
Uh,
that's something that we
we,
both
we,
went through
we
was the York
did.
Rite College.
We got invited to join the York College, and that was
We
a
got
very
initiated into it.
it was a different type of degree. I feel like
Oh yeah,
the ritual and everything, and that was a lot of fun.
yeah. It was a lot of fun.
It was, and we got the cool little
I got to be the
lapel pin.
candidate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was wondering where you were when I walked in there. I
Well,
looked around and I said, "Oh God, Ben's not in here.
these
Where'd he
these
go?"
guys think I have young knees. I just but
Yeah. But that was definitely something. If you ever get the chance to go through that, that is something that I as well as I'm sure Ben would highly recommend. It is a lot of fun,
absolutely
great fellowship, and there's some,
great men,
yes, great men and a lot of knowledge in
more
there.
life.
Yeah, oh yeah, always about the more light. Um, but other than that, let's just jump into it. So, the working tools of Freemasonry. So going back to the origins of Freemasonry, going back to the stonemasons, um, that's where we get our working tools that teach us how to be better men. That the different tools that we use are the tools that they would have used. We just use them for a different reason. And you've got your monitor over there. Have you got it open to the page
I
where
do not.
they are? I got you.
Let me ask you a quick question. What is a tool?
Uh,
A tool is an instrument used to make a job easier, right?
I've,
Would you
I've I've
say?
never heard it put that way,
I
but
mean,
yeah.
that's my definition. A tool would be an instrument used to make a job easier.
Yeah,
Okay, our job being life,
yeah,
upright men
yeah.
walking in life, and these are the tools that we use to help us do that. Like you said, back with the operative masons, these tools were used for completely different reasons.
Hmm.
But today we use them for things such as morals and virtues
Right.
and how to treat your fellow man and those things like that. But I won't get too far into it.
Yeah. And I mean,
And each
that's,
degree has its tools.
yeah. And I don't know how far we can go into, where, how they're used in the ritual. I mean,
I don't think so.
we'll say they're presented to you in a very proper manner, I guess you could say. It's a good way of showing them off and explaining them and all that. And now, like I said, the explanation of them is written, so
That's right.
we can delve into that a little bit, I believe. Um, so if and I don't know if we can say which degree they're in or not. So we'll leave that part out. We'll just go over all of them together as a whole.
I would think you
Because
can say what degree they're in.
okay,
They're listed in the
in the
moniker in the
okay,
order, yeah, in
yeah,
the Philip
I don't like that. Okay,
yes.
so we'll start out with entered apprentice. The tools you get in entered apprentice are the 24-inch gauge and a common gavel. Um, and Ben, if you want to read those off, just what's in there in the book, and we'll
Okay.
dive into it.
The 24-inch gauge is an instrument used by operative masons to measure and lay out their work. But we as free and accepted masons are taught to make use of it for the more noble and glorious purpose of dividing our time. It being dividing it into 24 equal parts is emblematic of the 24 hours of the day, which we are taught to divide into 3 equal parts, whereby are found 8 hours for the service of God and a distressed worthy brother, 8 for our usual vocations, and 8 for refreshments and sleep.
So I mean that
That's the
gives you a
24
good
inch gauge.
idea. That's the first one. I mean, obviously that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's basically teaching us how to divide our time,
And
how
these are
to
the,
better use our time.
the 20, to me, the 24-inch gauge and the common gavel, and these are presented during the entered apprentice degree.
Hmm.
These are more, that's what I'm trying to say, preparatory. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
Like, before the 24-inch gauge, before we can even work well,
right,
we have to, first of all, we've got to be in service to God and our fellow man,
right.
but we have to have our rest. We have to have our refreshment. We have to have our refreshment, right?
Oh yeah,
Well, I gotta have refreshment.
especially as Masons.
That's right. So, it's kind of is the very beginning of preparing us, if that makes any sense. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
that it does. It's kind of teaching you how to. Um, it gives you a basis
It
on
gives
what
you a
the rest
base.
of them are gonna fall under. I guess would be a way to say it.
These are
And
like, yeah, these are the beginning tools, I guess you
yeah,
would
and
say.
it gets more in
Before,
depth further
yeah,
you go.
before you can even know how to work, you got to know how to divide your day up.
Right,
You got to know how to manage your time before you can even get started with the project.
right. That's not a bad way of putting it. I like that. Now, going into the common gavel, which is kind of where our podcast name comes from.
It's an instrument made use of by operative masons to break off the superfluous corners of rough stone, the better to fit them for the builders to use. But we, as free and accepted masons, are taught to make use of it for the more noble and glorious purpose of divesting our hearts and consciences of all the vices and superfluities of life, thereby fitting our minds as living stones for that spiritual building, that house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens.
And that's it.
Right?
You get that rough stone, you're starting to
That
smooth it
yeah,
out a
so
little
so
bit. You're
we
breaking off
yeah,
the.
first of all we've learned how to divide our time up
Mhm.
and prepare, and now we've got a tool here that we've got a chunk of something from the quarry, and we can
Yep,
start tink tink tink
yep.
knocking off,
Get those big pieces off the
getting those,
shards,
yeah,
and that's
the vices,
right.
right, our
Yep,
vices and superfluities.
yep. And it's basically teaching you to knock off the things that don't matter.
That's right.
To get
Get rid of the dead weight.
yeah, get
You
rid of the
know,
crud.
that's right.
And that's to me, and that's why, at least what in my heart originally, the whole imperfect ashlers thing. That's where that kind of came from. Is we're starting with a rough ashlar, the rock that
Just
is
a
just
straight,
a
basically
rock,
blasted from the quarry
right?
rock with no purpose whatsoever other than
And
a
that
stone.
Yeah, and
You know,
that's we're using these tools, and we are aiming to be that perfect ashlar, that stone that's going to fit perfect in the building itself. And we know that while we're here, we're never going to completely reach that point. And to me, the imperfect part of it is us. We are the imperfect part. We're imperfect until we reach that golden gate, the pearly gate.
I will be.
Yeah,
I know. For me, I will be, and and there are some men I've met some through masonry and through church, that are just really, and some of these guys aren't necessarily masons, but they're just really square individuals, if you know
right.
what I mean.
Yeah,
They're the kind of brother or the kind of man you want in your corner,
yeah.
and some people get that naturally. Me,
Uh,
I'm a little
I've
bit slower of
I've
a
always
learner
I've
than,
always been rough around the
yeah, a
edges.
little bit rough around the
Yeah.
edges, big time. Yeah,
And that's, you said it perfect. I mean, not all good men are going to be masons. That's just, the way of
I run
life, the
into them
way
all the
life
time. Like,
is.
man, you'd
That's
make a great man.
yes.
You'd make
Uh,
a great
you
mason.
see them in church,
Oh
and you see guys that are in masonry that you'd love to see in church. I
yeah,
mean, I hate to say it like that. Not all masons
that's
are
right.
are good, church going people, but these things are the things that
Might be
are,
good people, they're just
yeah,
not church going
they're
people.
they're teaching us to be better men. Um, but that's all for the inner apprentice. Let's move on to the fellow craft.
The plum square and level.
Yeah, that's some of my favorite ones.
Yeah,
Fellow craft is my favorite
now we're
degree.
getting into some tools that are more, instead of being preparatory, they're more we're starting to finishing.
Fixing things,
Yeah,
putting it
finishing.
together.
Yes.
Yeah. So go ahead with what's first, the plumb?
The plumb is an instrument made use of by operative masons to raise perpendiculars. The okay, wait a minute. The
Okay,
square to
yeah.
square the work, and the level to lay horizontals. But we as free and accepted masons are made to make are taught to make use of them for the more noble and glorious purposes. The plumb admonishes us to walk uprightly in our several stations before God, man, squaring our actions by the square of virtue, and remembering that we are traveling upon this level of time to that undiscovered country from
Who's born?
whose born no traveler returns.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, and I saw you kind of struggle there for a second.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
worded a
Well,
little bit
you see
different.
these big binoculars I have on, and so.
It's worded a little bit different in that one, but
And most
so
people know what a plumb is. I would think, listening to this, basically you have a string with a weight attached
yeah,
or a point, and you can set columns, posts
hmm
in a vertical position,
right.
and that's. But we as masons are taught that we should walk
Walk straight.
in that upright.
Yep,
That's morally
yep.
okay.
That's what I was going to get into. It's not so much walking uprightly as you know posture, all
No,
that
it's
kind of
not
stuff.
posture.
It's
Yeah,
it's strictly moral and ethical, and I love that. The explanation of that, to me, it just makes sense. I mean, I have no other way to say it other
yeah.
than it just makes
And
sense.
if you ever get around a bunch of carpenters or something, they'll call it a plumb bob.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard that. Um, so now the square, you mentioned acting on the square, being fair, um, treating others like you want to be treated. That's what we consider acting square, being on the square, equality.
Making your virtues and morals shape your actions.
Well said. Well
That's
said.
well read.
Okay.
No,
I thought you'd made that one up.
that was good.
Um,
Yeah.
I do like that though. That's very
But the square is the working tool that a lot of people when they think about masonry and symbolism, that's the one that because
Hmm.
it's on all of our
The
symbols, and
emblems. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they see that square it's out there with the composites and stuff.
Right.
So most people that are
Most affiliate or
yeah
most.
that have they know that the square
Yeah.
is associated with Masons more than the other working tools.
Right. And
They
that's
may not know that it's what it means though.
and we're not so much getting into it because we're not really going to talk about the compasses, what they do, because I think that is part of the secret work. But the square and compasses, that is our main emblem. That's what most people relate with masonry. And to me, if you really think about it, people, especially people that are masons and know what they mean, the square is how I treat others. The compasses are how I treat myself.
Good work, square word, brother.
Amen.
Is that right?
And
Square work's good work.
it to me, the way I think about it is you're squaring off a big stone for a building. You want that stone to be perfect. There can't be any imperfections in it. It's got to be perfect work to be able to fit the building. So to me, that makes that one of the more important more important working tools that we have.
It is. I would think
And like I
so.
said, that's the one that we use to how we treat others. So and now on to the level, which I believe is another good one. We all uh, we meet upon the level. We're all equals.
Yeah.
Of
And
course, that you explained it in the reading, but a level, all it is making sure your work is even, is flat and even.
right. So true level would a fluid, a static fluid, a fluid that's not moving. The surface of it is
Perfectly
level,
level.
perfectly level. Okay, I've actually had a buddy one time. He had a shop, and I saw him do water. He leveled that thing up using a water level, and I was amazed by it. At first that was years ago, and I was like, "Wow, you can do that!" But you can actually level a building up with a water level.
Yeah. And that's another very important one. We always,
And
um,
we hear it a lot. Meet on the square, part
mm,
on the level, right?
yep, meet on or act on the square, part on the
Act
level.
on the square.
Um, meet on something else. But anyway, we always we in masonry in general, we're all equals. I mean, we've said it before. There's celebrities that are out there. There are equals. We're their equals. Um, and
Everybody on the
it
floor of that lodge is
is
equal.
equal. Yep. And it doesn't the internal and not the external are what masonry regards. And that's why we take these men, we make them better using these tools, and that's one way to do it is saying, I don't care that you make $10 million a year and I make $10,000 a year. We're equals. We've got
It's
the same heart.
yeah. It's basically a reminder we all come from the same thing.
Right.
We're all children of God.
Exactly.
We're all men walking this earth together, and so as Masons, we do it in unity and harmony.
Right.
And wouldn't that be a great thing for the world?
Exactly.
If could
And
man,
that's what, and we haven't really said it, but we're taught to take these tools and not just use them in lives. We're meant to use them every day of our life in life in general. So, um, if you're listening to this and you're not a Mason and somebody's not acting upon the level or not acting on the square with you, let us know. We'll we'll teach them a thing or two.
oh no, here we go back into that imperfect leg breakers.
All right.
Oh mate,
I like it.
we're gonna be the Masonic mafia.
Yeah.
We're coming.
Uh, well, let's get into Master Mason real quick and let's see what we got there. You on the page already?
Oh well, all I'm not on the page. I'm actually looking at some
I
other
got you.
stuff, but
The
more. I always go to more, especially the tribal, right?
yeah, the tools of Master Mason are all the implements of masonry,
All the implements of masonry.
more indiscriminately the trowel.
That's right.
And obviously for those that don't know, a trowel is what you use to spread cement. If you're putting bricks together, that's what they use to spread the mortar
And
that they
it
use
makes a
to.
bunch of individual stones one
Common
common
mass.
mass.
Yep. And we, I believe we've said it before on the show, are taught to make use of it to spread the cement of brotherly love and affection. And
The cement
just
that
like,
unites us into one sacred band or society of friends and brothers among whom no contention should ever exist, but that noble contention, or rather emulation, of who can best work and best agree.
I
And that's
couldn't have
what we
said
were
it better
talking about,
myself.
on being level on that floor. And that's just awesome.
Right.
And wouldn't that be a great thing if this politicians and world leaders across the globe could come together
Hmm.
and work on the principles of
Oh, it would be
Freemasonry?
amazing. Yes. And that's exactly what I was about to get at, was to say was, you know, to the operatives used it to put all the stones together to make one building. We use it to build our brotherhood with individual masons.
Individual, each individual mason is a stone,
Right.
basically.
And
Okay, and
that's,
we're putting that stone together to make that temple.
yep.
You know,
And that's what makes us the greatest. That's what brings us together and bonds us into the greatest fraternity in the world.
I think when people look at masonry, and they see, and this is just another way of explaining what some of these symbols are. Okay, so you look and you see the Masonic symbol, and you see that square, and then the compasses. You see the compasses there, and then you got the square. Well, just to the uninformed, that could be anything. They
Yeah.
say, "Oh man, if you connect all those points, it makes a whatever,
Pentagram.
yeah,
Yeah.
and all that stuff." But the reality of it is, it's a representation of something that we as Masons are using in our lives to make ourselves better human beings.
Yeah. And like I said, that's why a lot of times that I wear it. My ring obviously has the square and compasses, and it's got the G, and on the side of it, it's got the trowel, and then the other side, it's got the plum. So, all I have to do is look at that, and I remember how to treat myself, how to treat others, and what it means to be a Mason. I mean, that trowel, that's what Masonry is all about, is the brotherly love, extending assistance if needed, um, and to remember to use these. That's where that plum comes in. You've got to remember to use these working tools every day in your life to be that upstanding, upright man.
And like we talked about at the start, if you want a job to go smoothly, get the right tools.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
don't try to shear some hedges with a pair of hair scissors. You know what I'm
Little
saying?
nail clipping
Get
scissors.
the right tool for the right job, and that's what we as Freemasons are doing with these working tools.
Right.
Is
And that's it blows my mind thinking about, we came from stonemasons and all that kind of stuff, the builders of Solomon's temple and all that. But, you know, looking back at it and actually really just now talking about it, it's almost like it was meant to be. I mean, we're using these tools that have been around for millenniums or whatever, centuries, and um, we have turned their uses from building a house to building a brotherhood, and I just think that's really cool. I don't know. No, and we were talking earlier about that some other jurisdictions use other working tools, and I know we mentioned the chisel in England, and I don't know. Do you know any others that? Well, and
the skirt.
the what?
The skirt, I think it's called a
Skirt.
skirt. It was a tool that they used to keep the line straight. Okay, the chisel, yeah, that I read on some stuff that in the UK, that the chisel is a very important working tool. It's in the entered apprentice. It's one of the entered apprentice tools.
Okay,
But I read somewhere that it said no mason should ever be without a chisel in his hand. So that's in the UK. So I say
I got you. I
one
now.
thing about it though, a true gavel, okay? Like a lot of times we see these gavels and they just kind of look like a mallet or something like that,
Hmm.
but a true gavel is pointed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So it
almost looks like a little,
like a
like a
wooden,
hatchet
like a
almost.
hatchet or a chisel,
Yeah,
like a bigger chisel. So, a true gavel actually has that point on it.
yeah.
I wouldn't say that it was necessarily a chisel, but could be
It could be
used
used as a
like, yeah, it
chisel.
makes it
Yeah.
easier to knock off those.
And now you said it was more for, and I know I don't know how much reading you did on it, but
I
you said it
didn't
was
do a
more
lot.
for like educational type, bettering yourself in education, maybe.
The chisel, uh, seemed like it was something like that, and I wish I was better prepared right now.
And I could have done my homework on it a little
The
bit too, because
chisel,
I didn't realize there were other working tools that were out there. We're just going
it
off of what Alabama uses.
is the importance of discipline and education in one's life
Okay.
is the chisel, the stonemason uses the chisel to remove flaws from and beautify stone or gem, showing its inner beauty. So the candidate is taught something similar, the importance of discipline and education, just as the brilliance of the diamond is revealed by the skillful use of the chisel, so too will the beauties of the human mind be revealed through knowledge.
I like that.
Now, that's good.
I wish we could incorporate that in ours somehow. Now, and there's one that
But
uh,
didn't we say that we actually used the chisel later on?
I believe so. I don't think it was for that reason. I don't think it was the same as what they're using it as. I believe it was in York, right, in the Royal Arch
In the
degrees.
Royal Arch degree.
And I don't remember. I wish I could remember exactly what it was used for, but
Mark,
I
wasn't it
remember
the Mark
maybe the Mark
Master?
Master degree.
Mark Master? Was it Mark
Um,
Master?
it was one of those three. I
I
remember.
can't remember, but
I,
I'm thinking maybe
we'll
Mark
figure
Master,
it
but
out.
we'll figure it out.
We'll update
We're
you
so
on that.
unprepared. We're
Yeah,
so imperfect.
exactly.
That's good.
Now there's one that that I didn't even think about until just now, and it's probably one of the most used and most needed. The one that we always get it later on in the degrees. I won't say when, just in case there's somebody that's about to get their master mason, but our trestle board, the trestle board that's used to draw out the designs, make the plans, and
That has to be on
um,
every job, right?
exactly. And our trestle board is the Bible.
The Bible.
We
So can
do.
we talk about Jesus?
I don't see why not. I'd love
I'm playing. I'm just
to.
I'm messing.
And he
Oh boy,
says
some
that
make some
that's
hairs stand up
yeah.
out there.
But that is one that's probably, if not, no, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. That's the most important working tool out of all of them, because that's where all of our instruction is going to come from. If you want to
All
know
the
how to be
knowledge,
moral
all
and
wisdom.
ethical, yeah. Um, and I don't know why it took me so long to think about that, but it really is that the Bible is it gives all of our plans. You can always go to it for anything, any heartache, or if you're having financial distress or something like that, there's always something in there that's going to be at least either comforting or instructional on how to fix it. So we can't go without mentioning that one. Um, but you sound like you had something you was going to say.
No, I was just looking at some of these working tools that we don't have. One of them is a pencil.
Yeah, that
That's
would
a
be
pretty
nice
good.
to
I mean,
have.
yeah, before you build anything, you just about need a
Now
pencil, right?
I don't know if they would have had them back in Solomon's
I
days.
would think some type of charcoal or
Yeah,
marking. Yeah, they had stuff like that.
and there's other symbols and things like that we could get into, the charcoal and the clay
Hmm.
and um, chalk and all that, and there's so much more. I mainly just wanted to touch on these few that we have that we're actually presented in the degrees, just to kind of give an idea and kind of a start of maybe an explanation of how Freemasonry does make men better.
So
Um,
I'm going to throw a little question out here to you because
yeah,
I run into this. Why not just use the Bible?
um, that's a good question. I
Why not?
mean,
You see what do you? Okay, the most important tool is
hmm
why not just use the Bible? Because
Ma-
I've been asked this question
Yeah,
by people that are not Masons from coming at me from a religious standpoint. Why not just use the Bible?
the only answer I could give is because of the history there and as a visual, something to maybe some of them reemphasize the most important things that we're taught to do. Um, I really don't know. That's a good question. Like I said, I mean, just
That's the
as
trestle board.
as a visual, as a maybe an easy way to remember it.
It was okay. Let's say we're going to write a report, okay, and we've got a book that we've read, okay, and to help us write the report. But we can also go and uh, Google, use that as
Good old
and
Wikipedia.
find out some more things. Or we could, back in the old day, we would go into the encyclopedia,
Hmm.
and found out some more things. And maybe instead of saying why not the Bible, we should say why not these working tools? Okay, why not? What's wrong with the working tools? Okay,
Yeah,
what's wrong with saying, hey, you have to treat your fellow man square. You need to act on the level. Okay,
yeah.
you need to take this common gavel and knock off your uh, bad
Bad habits.
defects of character and bad habits and all these things. Why not? Okay, uh, to me, to me, that's easier for me from a Masonic standpoint to do that than
Right,
just saying, I go down to the altar, I say a prayer, I come up, and all of a sudden I'm a new person.
right.
I have to,
Yeah,
for me,
that's
I'm a working man and I have to work through these things.
yeah.
But I have been presented with that question that I asked you, and that's the reason I put it out there. It was just asked probably a couple of weeks ago.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff that I like to think about.
Yeah.
Um, those kind of dark, not really dark, but the deep,
Oh,
esoteric type questions and stuff like that.
uh,
I like that. And I'm gonna try to come up with a good answer to that, my own answer.
your own answer?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to come up with my own answer
Why
for
not
that.
just the Bible?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was why you because I had a guy, like, why do you need that masonry? Why not? Why don't you just come to church?
yeah.
Well,
I mean, and you I hate to say it like this because I love everybody I go to church with is a church family, but I need folks outside of that too. I need I need my brothers in the lodge, people from other churches. It's
churches have have in the past kind of taken on some of the things that we do. They call them something partners. Where they hold accountable
accountability.
people that hold each other
Yeah,
accountable and
yeah,
stuff. And as Christians, that's obviously what we should do. It
yeah.
says in the Bible, if you see a brother err, you're not supposed to go to him by yourself. You're supposed to go get another brother and go to him.
Hmm.
And we're taught that in Masonry too.
Yeah.
So
And that's kind of what I was getting at. I love the people in church and they do a good job of holding me accountable, but I need my outside um
And
reminders,
I'm
I
not going to
guess.
say that the okay. I'm not going to say that the fraternity is a replacement for church because
No,
it's
Lord,
not.
no,
It's
not at
not
all.
because I get a whole nother uh, part of God there.
Yeah,
Okay, Masonry is not about religion, and for church I go to worship.
right,
When I go to lodge, I'm not going to worship. I'm going
right.
to work. Okay.
Exactly.
Now here, we volunteer at church, so a lot of times I'm working at church too.
Right.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
difference between going to church and worshiping. But there's a whole lot of there's a lot of Masons out there that I would say lodge kind of is their church.
Yeah, and
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 I don't know
I
that that's a good thing.
no, I mean it's not a
I
bad
don't
thing
think it's to be
either,
a
but
replacement.
yeah, I mean and it could be that maybe they're in that spot where they're needing to get to church, something like
Right.
that. We had a brother of ours, I don't know if you saw it in our little
I
group
did.
message. We had a brother of ours actually last night or yesterday. got saved, and
Isn't
I'm
that
super
awesome?
proud of that. I'm proud to call him my brother. I was proud to call him my brother already, but even more so now that he's a brother in Christ. But um,
So see, even a brother Mason can can benefit with some
exactly,
good
and
churches, right?
that's yeah. That's what I was going to say. It may be that masonry is what leads you to that.
That's right.
I mean, you never know.
And
Some people
we said in some one of our earlier episodes that I have never read my Bible at
more that
more
yeah,
than since I became a Mason.
I can agree.
Because basically, it is our guide.
Yeah, yeah.
It's our
Well,
rule, our guide.
and that's just the way that it's presented in the lodge to me is a little bit different. I mean, you don't get that heaven and hell. It's more of, like I said, it's teaching you to be moral. It's teaching you to be ethical, and to like I've said before, that to me, I consider myself a Christian before I became a Mason. Now I wasn't, I don't think, truly saved until a couple of years ago, but masonry still taught me to be a better person. So, yeah, you get that, you're a little bit more moral, a little bit more ethical and all that, but you still need whatever your relationship is with God. Um, and we're definitely not the ones to give you that. That's between you and God. But church is where you need to find that.
Right.
That's where you're going to find all that kind of
And
stuff.
that, that's we basically we bring candidates in, and we say as an organization we're going to make them better men,
Mm.
and we take them and
We
put
give them
them
these
put
tools.
put them on their knees in front of the Holy Bible, right?
Right. I mean, that's like you said, you get that
That's what
obligation
it's, you're guided to the book. We're basically we're leading you to the rule, to the guide
to
of
the
how
trestle board.
to the trestle board of how
Yeah,
to live your life.
exactly.
Okay, without it's like me trying to put that printer together without an instruction manual.
Oh, that's going to be a cluster.
Wouldn't it be awesome, man? Or just I'm going to put okay, I'm going to put uh, this dresser together
Right.
just by a photograph of it,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, and I really can't really see their inner workings and what's
Hmm.
going on inside the cabinet or anything like that.
Yeah,
So the Bible for me, like you said, the most important working
yeah.
tool is it's just it goes
The
hand
other
in hand
tools to
with our
me.
24-inch gauge.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. You
And
got to have that time away.
it's just it gives us that breaking it down, and I say this, I'm not tooting my horn. It's just something I do. And I started doing it since I became a master mason is first thing in the morning, I crack the Bible open. Last thing at night, I crack the Bible open. How am I going to live my life without an instruction manual?
Right,
Right?
exactly.
I need instructions. Trust
Exactly.
me, I
I
need
do too.
instructions. I'm an imperfect ashlar, brother.
Yeah, we were just thrown to the wolves in this world and
That's
said, "Go
right.
do it." Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, we've got something there that it gives us at least some good guidance on how to get through it. And of course, none of us are going to make it out alive, but not in this living body at least. But
Enoch did, right?
do I?
Enoch in the Bible was the one that walked so close to
Oh,
God and he
yeah,
just was no more,
yeah.
and we're definitely no Enoch.
No, not at all. But that's definitely, I have to say that this has been by far, what am I trying to say? The best example, maybe, of what masonry is.
The working tools.
Yeah, actually putting out there what, you know, being able to say this is what we're doing to try to make men better,
This is
whatever.
what all these little
And
symbols and stuff mean that
yeah,
everybody's making such a big do over.
exactly.
It's just a square. Get over
Yeah, but
it.
that's what, and that's what my original vision with the podcast and everything. That's what I have been aiming to do, and today is just this episode itself is just filling my heart so much. I love it.
Oh yeah.
But we're actually right at 45 minutes. We just hit
We better cut
45
it off
minutes, so
before we
we
get
need
any
to cut it off.
complaints.
Yeah. But we appreciate y'all listening to us
Always a
jammer on,
pleasure to be
and
here, right,
yeah,
brother?
oh yes.
I love you. If
Uh,
nobody's told you that today, Zach, I love you. There's nothing you
Amen.
can do about
And same here, and we love all of y'all, and we appreciate y'all listening to us just ramble on for a little while. But we do hope that you got a little something out of this,
it.
and
Any
uh,
suggestions? Give Brother Zach a call.
yeah, we've got an email. I don't think I've mentioned it in a while. We've got that email set up. It's imperfectbachelorspodcast@gmail.com, and you can hit me up on Facebook, or oh well, we've got a Facebook page now too.
Yeah, man, I'm out there. I didn't even know it, right, brother? I'm getting this much. I'm this much closer to getting back plugged in, but I'm still
Yeah.
hesitant and resisting for some
Yeah,
reason. For some reason,
it's definitely not. Social media is not my best friend by any
me
means.
either.
I don't. Anyway, that's a whole nother
That's
story.
another episode.
But yeah, we do appreciate y'all listening. And hopefully before too long we'll be able to get some video going. You can see our ugly
I
selves.
don't know if that's a good idea. Maybe we should stick with the voices, brother.
Yeah. But anyway, we do appreciate you listening to this new episode, and we hope to get back to you again soon.